I would now like to welcome the United States of America and Trevor Pawl, Chief Mobility Officer of the Michigan Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, to talk a little bit more about that state's efforts in leading the charge in promoting and developing next-generation transportation solutions.
Hello everybody, thank you for having me. My name is Trevor Pawl, Chief Mobility Officer for the state of Michigan. So I'd like to begin by looking into the future, to the year 2030. The next 10 years will be a landmark decade for mobility. Electric vehicle sales are expected to pass internal combustion engine vehicle sales by 2030. Software will represent more than 50% of the value of a vehicle by 2030. Partially autonomous or self-driving vehicles are expected to make up almost 50% of new vehicle production by 2030. So it's likely you'll still drive your car, but there's a good chance it'll park itself or drive on the highway by itself. It's going to be a big decade. And that's why our governor created the new Office of Future Mobility and Electrification in our state, to be a dedicated resource to make sure that Michigan's at the table to build strategic partnerships as the decade progresses and as the future of transportation progresses. And so the state's vision for mobility is simply this, and it's very direct actually. A stronger state economy can be achieved through safer, more equitable, and environmentally sound transportation for all residents. And baked into that vision, there are certain guiding principles that we follow here. First, the systems level approach will create economic development advantages. The core elements of a new mobility era, autonomous technology, connected technology, shared technology, and electric vehicle technology, those are all systematically linked. They're causing industries to converge like automotive and healthcare. So a region that can intentionally and consistently integrate all these elements into its existing systems of movement for people and goods, that's a state that's going to have a greater impact. Another guiding principle is that the collaboration between public and private sectors is more critical than ever. So a state that can leverage public investment to spark private investment, that's a state that's going to build deeper and more partnerships. And finally, smart infrastructure on the grid are new and cutting-edge economic development tools. They're not just used to get us from point A to point B or to turn the light on. They're foundational platforms to drive business attraction, growth, and new job-creating business models. And so some of the objectives we have under that vision here in the state of Michigan are ones you could probably guess. We want to grow the industry here in Michigan. We want to engage more mobility startups. We want to expand Michigan's smart infrastructure. We want to accelerate electric vehicle adoption in the state, reduce range anxiety, but also grow the industry, expand charging infrastructure, but also find leapfrogging moments to, for instance, pilot wireless charging in motion. There's a lot to do around electrification. Other things that we're focused on, enabling Michigan's mobility workforce, and also bolstering Michigan's mobility manufacturing core, protecting the state's competitiveness in electric and autonomous vehicle manufacturing, while also marking a path toward evolution. And so, over the last couple of years, I mentioned those four foundational technologies: electric, autonomous, shared, and connected. I mean, they are disrupting the industry around the world. And we're seeing that here in Michigan with our traditional automakers beginning to produce parts in-house again to claim a greater share of value. And you're seeing new OEMs like Tesla, Bollinger, Rivian challenge traditional OEMs like Ford, Toyota, GM, Honda. We're seeing tier 1 suppliers actually moving back to be tier 2 suppliers in the automotive supply chain to sell batteries. You're seeing the tier 2 suppliers, which typically only sold to the tier 1s, now becoming tier 1s and selling directly to General Motors or Volkswagen or BMW. And then you're seeing these non-auto players, these tech companies, emerge as major automotive suppliers. Companies that used to focus on video games are now major auto suppliers. And the thing is, with this disruption, we're seeing an influx of new investment, a consistent drumbeat of new investment over the last decade in Michigan from companies that through this disruption need customer proximity and need reliable manufacturing expertise. And that's why you come to Michigan. And actually the number is $41.5 billion in new investment over the last 10 years, creating 90,000 new jobs, whether it's new mobility, global EV and AV supply chain, or the actual automakers themselves. We've seen even, it starts with the companies that are already located in Michigan. So General Motors has made a massive $3 billion investment in Detroit to retool production for electric pickups. FCA has made a $2.1 billion investment to aid in the current production of the electric Durango. And Ford has made a $700 million investment to produce the all-new electric F-150 pickup truck right here in Michigan. And so we've been fortunate to see our private sector invest in this future of technology right here in Michigan. And that's what's getting companies like Akasol, a German company who could have gone anywhere in North America, to locate in Michigan because of access to these customers and these innovations. But it's not just about auto. We believe that the future is very much a multimodal future, and the future is very much an equitable future. And the future needs to focus on good public transit. And so over the last month, we've announced the world's first self-driving vehicle corridor. It's the road of the future. It's going to be about a 40-mile stretch of road between the city of Detroit and the city of Ann Arbor in southeast Michigan. We've also launched an autonomous shuttle to help Detroit hospitals and senior citizens get to one another. The shuttle will pick up and drop off senior citizens for their doctor's appointments. We've launched the COVID-19 Mobility Solutions Grant that focuses on virus mitigation inside vehicles. North America's first automated parking garage demo, and that was with Ford, Bosch, and Bedrock, a local Michigan company, where you can literally get out of your car and the car will park itself. We're also focused on the future in the sky, building digital infrastructure in the sky, making sure that commercial aerial drones have the right knowledge of different laws across communities as they deliver medical supplies or critical manufacturing parts. In northern Michigan, we launched a maritime mobility grant program to test autonomous maritime technologies. Because as we know, mobility isn't just auto, it's across air, land, space, and sea. We're working with Plug and Play, a new accelerator in Detroit, to focus on diverse founders. Because honestly, we need to make sure that this industry reflects the audience that it serves. And we've also launched the Council on Future Mobility and Electrification, which contains some of the largest companies in the world, our legislators, and state department heads, to actively look at our laws to make sure that they're creating a favorable environment for safety and a favorable environment for the future of innovation. So there's a lot happening here in Michigan. I'm really happy that I'm able to present to you today, and I'm hoping this is the beginning of a dialogue, because the year 2030 is going to belong to the region that prepares for it best. And you know what? That's going to be decided today. Today's officials are going to decide the future. So we're just trying to be good partners, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.